Yeah.
FX is clipped exclusively on Hulu, which you can, of course, catch here, right here on Roku. Ed O'Neill is here on the Rich Eisen Show with our television audience, now back with our radio audience together. Just showed a great clip from FX's clip, which premieres today exclusively on Hulu. And it's just, I'll be honest with you, you look just like the guy and you sound like him. Ed, I mean, how much were you watching Donald Sterling tapes and things of that nature for this role?
I don't do much of that. It was sort of like, first of all, I was a little hesitant to do it.
Right.
How
so? Just because?
Well, I remembered when it happened, like everybody, I was in L.A.
Right.
And I don't follow pro basketball that much. Peripherally, I do. I watch Sports Center.
Yeah.
But I thought, well, this is a strange story. And when the tapes came out, I believe I heard them.
Yep.
And I thought, well, this is not going to go well.
Yes.
And then when I got the call that they said they wanted me to play Sterling, these years later, I thought, geez, I don't know about this one, But I read the script. Gina Welsh wrote the script.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know Gina, but I knew she had come up with David Milch, who I had done a lot of work with. So I knew that would be a good thing.
Sure.
And then though, I said, I think I'm going to pass. I believe I'd said that. And then they said, would you have lunch with her? You know how they do that. You have lunch with her. And I thought, I don't want to go down that road because I know where that leads.
Which means
I'll do it, and but I said I almost have to have lunch with her because of Milch, who I really feel I owe a lot to.
What'd you do with Milch?
I did 2 series that didn't make it: Big Apple in New York, and John from Cincinnati.
John from Cincinnati, which is what he did after Deadwood.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I said I'd have lunch with her. So I was driving over to the restaurant. And I was already writing my exit speech, as politely as I could put it together.
Right.
And then because I never met her, and I sat down and we were talking about every other thing, as you do. And then I think she said something like, well, I really hope that you're considering it. And I said, oh, I'm doing it.
Wow. What a backtrack.
And I said it, and I'm thinking, my brain is saying, what did you just say? But this is how my mind works, unfortunately. So I didn't want to disappoint her, and I think I wanted to challenge myself.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think sometimes I know I do, certain roles, and you don't really use a whole lot of your engine. It's more or less 70% or maybe 65.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this one is going to be 100 all the way through.
Yeah.
So that's why I did it.
I'm sure. And again, we're just showing photographs of, you look just like him. It is eerie. It is kind of remarkable how.
There's a progression, too, that I like, because I've seen them all. And I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
a great cast around. I mean, not around me.
No. I understand. Jackie Weaver is playing your wife in this, and she looks just like
and sounds just like Shelley.
Shelley Sterling,
really,
right?
For me, I just tried to get. I heard him interviewed, and I thought, well, I want to have a kind of pedantic delivery, ing endings and a kind of whine, a little bit of a whine. Mm-hmm. That's all. But she's like spot on.
Because he is just he's a real SOB. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
I never met him.
And neither have I. But I mean, I just having followed the sport and obviously know intimately the stories now. I mean, and we were just going back and forth here. I mean, you don't usually play a heel very often.
Not like that. I've played
like who? Like when was the last time? Like we were going back to like Little Giants. Ed,
yeah, I mean he was kind of full of himself, but he had a good heart.
Sure.
No, there's no other roles like this. There's very few.
Right.
Like Donald Sterling. So that was obviously my hesitation.
Sure. Right.
But I thought, well, Jackie Weaver is sort of the Meryl Streep of Australia, and Lawrence Fishburne I knew from New York, and
when you were
when I was in New York,
just living there. And
I was in his apartment. We kicked it around a little bit.
This is pre moving out west.
Oh yeah, moving out to L.A.
Pre-married with children and all that business. But you just knew him as just a fellow actor in New York City?
Yeah, just theater stuff. And, I never worked with him, but we had mutual friends. And
it's amazing how that works.
It is.
That's pretty cool.
It really is.
Ed O'Neill here on the Rich Eisen Show. Are there any similarities playing Donald Sterling and Al Bundy in any way, shape, or form?
I don't know. I hope not, but it's the same guy.
How so?
I'm saying it's being done by the same guy.
Oh, okay.
So it's sometimes you may fall into something that says, oh, that sounded kind of like the other guy.
Did you have a moment like that?
Oh yeah, I always have. I forget what it was, but you have those little moments. And usually they're in a take, and then you do another take, and you try to take it out, because it's not appropriate. And but I also use the voice of a guy that I guess it was a combination of a guy that was my roommate at OU, who had pitched short relief for the Pirates later.
Uh-huh.
And his dad was, mentioned him to you once before, I think, Sammy Angot.
Yeah.
Who was lightweight champ of the world, Hall of Fame. Yeah. His son was Sammy, my roommate. And he had a kind of way of speaking, like, hey, what are you doing? He had this kind of whiny kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I was well aware of that, and it was sort of easy to fall into that.
While doing Donald Sterling is what you're saying.
Yeah, because it's this, who cares?
But did you have like a moment where you slipped back into Al Bundy as playing Donald Sterling? That moment sort of happened?
Yes, I mean, I think it's easy to do. There's not... I don't think I did it a lot.
Okay.
I don't think I did, but others may say no,
Yeah, because when you told the story, you were here in your first appearance here like 8 years ago about how you got that role. You kind of slipped right back into his voice.
Oh, did I? Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Probably did.
When you talked about how you based him on being...
my uncle.
Yeah, because he was resigned.
Oh,
was the
word
that you used.
I don't know if I told you this because I only found out about this recently.
Okay.
Through a book that Richard Gurman wrote. He was one of our producers about the show. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know a lot about that. I mean, this is a month ago I read this.
About Married with Children?
Yeah, about the making of it and the whole thing. What was it? I was thinking that Diller wanted Katie, but he didn't want me. Mm-hmm. Diller was Murdoch's right-hand guy. Yeah. And he just thought that they could do better, because they never heard of me. Mm-hmm. I was a dramatic actor, as far as they were concerned.
Yes.
From New York and unknown. So they were putting a lot of money in this show, and they said, "This guy, who is he? Mm-hmm. He's not a comedian. He's not funny. He's not." So they were desperate because they were a week away from shooting. So they said, "We really want him." And Murdoch said, Diller said, "Do what you want," and left and went back to Fox. And so they started to make arrangements to cast me, and then apparently he called and said, "Did you get rid of O'Neill?" And they said, "No, you told us we could do what we want." He said, "I didn't mean it." So as the story goes, he said, "Well, it's bought for 12. It's now 1.
One episode?
We're paying for the pilot. If this thing doesn't kick off, this will never see the light of day. If you hire this guy."
And you just found that out a month ago?
Yeah. And they didn't tell me. And so we shot the pilot under those pressures for everybody else. I didn't know about it, There was enough pressure.
Yeah.
But then apparently he said, okay, afterwards. And then I think it was 6. And then it went from there. It went 11 years.
11 years.
But I ran into him at one of these awards thing. I think I don't know what I was doing, but I ran into him.
Barry Diller?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I had also had little dealings with him when I did the movie Dutch, which was very funny.
Yes.
And he said, I made a mistake about you. And I said, we all make them. That's all I said. But the story that's funny about him, when they signed me up for Dutch and I shot it, then it was the holidays were coming up, and they do this. They had this idea to go on a bus and truck tour through the South over the Christmas holidays, like Little Rock, small towns. to promote the movie.
Yeah.
And I said, geez, it's over Christmas? You know, you're going to take me and the kid on a bus. And they said, yeah, it's a wonderful idea. And we can really, you know, they do that. So I said, I don't know. And they said, come to the commissary and we'll have lunch tomorrow. And I did. And there were 15 people at the table, all, you know, trying to sell this idea. And I think, well, I guess I got to do it. I was having the contract checked if I had to do it.
Right.
And along comes Diller. He's walking, you know.
Yeah.
And he comes over to the table and says, hi. And they're afraid of him, you know, terrified of him. You know, his head, he looks like a rattlesnake, right? So he looks at me and he says, I saw the movie the other night. It's good. I liked it. You're good. I said, thanks, Barry. So what are you here for? So the one says, well, we're thinking about, you know, bus and truck tour for Mr. O'Neill and to go through the South. He said, it's the worst, I can't swear, right?
Yeah, no.
It's the worst blanket idea I ever heard in my life. A bus and truck tour. Looks at me, you want to do this? I said, not really. He said, no, worst idea I ever heard. And he walked away. Now, we hadn't even got our Cobb salads yet. There was no more conversation.
Over.
Nothing. Just glasses and tinkling and
Saved you your bus tour. There was no Dutch bus tour. You know, it's kind of funny too, is that some people sometimes think when he would originally say, I don't want Ed O'Neill for the Al Bundy role. It's your funeral, I think is the words that you use or something like that.
It's your funeral to them.
Right, to them, right. But that would be taken as, okay, thank you. You've now delegated the responsibility and decision to us. Yeah. He took it to mean you should now fire him.
Fire him.
And they didn't, and they cut the pilot order from 12 down to 1, and it lasts 11 years.
And, you know, honestly, you couldn't blame him for being hesitant about me because he didn't know who I was. They didn't know a thing about me.
Right.
So
who knows? You know, it's funny. We had Eric Stonestreet here a few months ago, and he told a story about Modern Family and how you guys had never really met before.
Right.
You shot the pilot.
Right.
And he's driving along with his friend. And he hadn't heard a word yet about whether this show is going to get picked up, and you called.
Yeah.
And you told him, you remember this conversation from your point of view?
I called him. I had seen it. I saw the show because I watched it after they all did. For some reason, I was working somewhere else.
Okay.
I came back and I had to go to the Fox lot, Leviton and Lloyd's office, and they put me in a room by myself. And they put the tape in. The guy walked out and shut the door.
Yeah.
So I watched the pilot, and then he came back in. You know, he timed it. Mm-hmm. And I said, would you play it again? I want to watch it again. Okay, played it again. I watched another 22 minutes, you know.
Yes.
Watched it again. And I said, okay, thank you. So I went out and I was driving around and I called a few people in the cast, but I called Eric. And he was driving around with his buddies, I think, in the car or something. And I said, Eric, well, you know how he imitates me. And I said, I just screened the pilot. He said, oh? You know, Eric was pantomiming things. He was doing mime in some garage in Encino. And he said, I said, you're great in this. He said, oh, thank you. And I said, if this show doesn't run 10 years, I shouldn't be in Hollywood. I shouldn't be out here at all. 10 years, you're going to be buying houses with this thing. Wow. And he was, oh, you know, you can imagine.
Yeah.
He thought from me, and now I'm not sure, but he thought it was like, you know, some kind of prophecy.
Okay, confirm. He by the way, it was.
Yeah, it was. It was because when I saw the pilot, and I've been wrong before, Rich.
Sure.
About things. You know, we all are.
Right.
But when I saw the pilot, and I think I had run into Eisen, Bob, and he said, this is the best pilot I've seen in I think he said 10 or 20 years. So I knew, you know, it was it. I knew it. It was like, I knew it from the time I read it.
It was that good on the page, is what you're saying. It was that
good on the page. I said, this is a hit. And it went to, why can't I remember his name? I thought of it this morning. The actor that they offered the part to, not me. You know, he played Coach.
Oh,
the
Craig
series.
T. Nelson?
Three names.
Craig T. Nelson.
Yes, Craig. Yeah. And because Craig and I were up for a lot of things over the years, we're similar. And so because I had the meeting with those guys, Lloyd and Levitan, a year before. They hadn't written it yet. And they pitched the idea. And they said, would you be willing to get involved now? And I said, no, I don't want to do a sitcom. Didn't they tell you that? And I said, well, they try to talk me into, it's not for camera. There's no audience.
Right.
Because I don't like an audience in a sitcom.
Even while you were doing Married with Children?
It's no good. It's no good. Because you got 4 cameras and the audience behind them.
Right.
And they're there to see you. But the cameras now are in the way. So they have the screens, but they don't know where to look. So often they laugh at the wrong time. They blow jokes,
Okay.
That was my thing. But, so where was I going with this?
You said that you didn't want to do a sitcom and they still wanted you to be this role.
So they were very nice. And I respected, the reason I was there was I knew what they had done.
Sure.
Frasier, Golden Girls, Just Shoot Me. So a year later, I got the script in the mail, and it was a different name, different title. And then I saw their names, and I said, oh, this must be that show. So I read it, and I thought, oh, no, I got to do this. I didn't realize it was not an offer. And I called my manager, and I said, Mark, I think I have to do this. And he said, too late. Out to Craig T. Nelson. I said, oh, okay, well, I'll watch it. It's going to be a good show. And then a week later, he called and said, they're back to you. Because Craig T. understandably passed because it was only one show. And those guys like Craig, he wanted some upfront money, like pay me for 6,
sure,
and I'll do your 1. And if it doesn't make it, no hard feelings. But that's the way it goes. So he must have passed, assuming they'd come back to him. But I guess somebody wanted me for the part. And they said, they're back to you. And I said, make the deal. And he said, you're not the star. I said, I know. He said, you're not paying your quota. I said, I don't care. It's a hit. We'll get even later, and then we'll get ahead. And I was right.
You sure were.
Wow.
No doubt
Craig
about
T.
that.
fired everybody connected to him. No, I'm
No, it's just Ed O'Neill
I
here.
don't even know what the story was.
I think I saw before I let you go. I think I saw a clip of you telling a story because you've also told us here about how you were at the Steelers and Chuck Noll's first year and he cut you and that you had a recurring dream about this.
Yes, I never told you that.
No.
Do you know why? Well, no, I did remember that. But okay, you want me to tell it real quick?
Sure. Yeah,
all right. It was. I got cut. I was 23 years old.
Yeah.
And then every year after that, I would have a recurring dreams. At least twice a year, I'd have the same dream. And I was back in camp in uniform on the sidelines, a scrimmage going on. An assistant coach comes by and says, you're in the next series, O'Neill. I said, okay, coach. I go in. And I remember in the dream, I'm thinking, I've got another shot. I knew I had been here before. Every year. The only difference was I was always in the dream the age I was at that time. So it cut to the last time I had the dream.
Yeah.
Same scenario exactly. O'Neill in next series. Okay, coach, here's where it stopped. Hey, coach, you may not know it, but I'm 75 years old. You look great. Go on in. You'll be all right. I said, no, I don't think so. And I walked off the field. Now, I never had the dream again. I should have been seeing a shrink. Because it was 23 to 75.
Ed, I mean, so you basically, you retired from your own recurring dream of being a Pittsburgh
Steelers?
Steeler?
Myself.
So Chuck Noll retired you in real life.
In real
by
life.
saying, give me your playbook.
Exactly.
In 1969.
Which I did give him.
Which you did, in fact, do that,
Yes.
starting your incredible career as an
Yes.
actor. And then you retired from the recurring nightmare on your own
Yeah.
doing.
Now I'll tell you
What a story.
The catch. I'll tell you I don't know what to describe it. There was something else in that conversation with Noll and I.
Yeah.
That I forgot
In real life.
in real life.
Okay.
Now I don't know how this happened because, I'm not going to go into this other little thing. It's
Okay.
not worth it. When I had that conversation with Chuck Noll, And they're always so nice to you. When they're cutting you, they don't want you to pull out a knife. So he said, "Listen, I was on the phone today with Coach Kulharek with the Eagles.
Yeah, right. Sure.
And they need linebackers. And if you want, we'll rent you a car here. We're at St. Vincent's College. You can drive up the PA Pike to Philly, and they'll give you a very good look. But you have to tell me right now, because they have to fill the spot. We'll have to call them, let them know." Mm-hmm. I said, "Right now?" He said, "Yeah." And I sat there for maybe, I didn't want to wait too long, seconds. And I said, "No, I'm done." And I remember him saying, "You're done?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm done. I want to try something else." He said, "Oh, what?" I said, "I have no idea, but not this." Now, I never told that story. I forgot that. I didn't remember it.
Right.
And it came up to me just lately that was said. And it must have been, I was ashamed of it, that I actually quit before I was actually done. I mean, I was done, but I did have another shot that I turned down.
Maybe you just knew it that I'm not cut out for it deep down in the same way.
I think that was it.
Oh, and maybe in the same way that just to kind of bring it full circle, that you went to lunch with the writer of Clipped, and you're like, "I'm not doing it," and then all of a sudden just came out of you like, "Of course I'm going to do it."
It was like that, and the funny thing was, I don't think I regretted it even after that.
Yeah.
But something in the subconscious kept working on me. It's interesting how that works.
Can I get one more segment out of you to take us to the top of the hour? All right, back here on the Roku channel, our radio audience will rejoin in a matter of moments. Ed O'Neill's still here with us. We've got the split screen. Let's put it up there. There it is. I mean, that's what it's about there, man. I mean,
it's the same attitude.
That's it right there. I mean, he's not wearing the glasses on the right, but I mean, if you didn't know Donald Sterling and they didn't know, you're playing him, people would not be able to tell the difference between the real and the not.
Yeah.
I mean, and you shot that all here in L.A.? You shot this all here in L.A.?
Yeah, L.A., Malibu, Hancock Park, Beverly Hills.
All right.
All
local. Those are all his haunts.
All his haunts, yeah.
Oh, I know. I drive on the corner of Beverly and Wilshire. There's the Sterling Building.
Yes.
I think does he still have an office there? It says the Sterling Building on it. I don't know.
Sure. I mean, he owns insane amount of property in town still.
All over.
Right. Yeah, he's got his offices there, right there in downtown Beverly Hills.
Well, they own so many buildings. I mean, it's incredible.
Right.
Many buildings there.
I know that. Well, I mean, that's how you buy yourself an NBA team in San Diego and move it to L.A.
Burnson, the actor.
Yeah, Corbin Burnson.
Corbin.
Yeah.
Corbin and I worked together years ago on a movie, Disorganized Crime.
Okay.
And he plays the bust-out attorney that she hires to help her through the selling of the team and so forth. He's wonderful. He's wonderful. He's an old friend of mine.
So he's playing an L.A. attorney again?
Yeah, yes, but a little jaded,
just a little different,
a little worse for the wear, And he's so good in it. He's so good.
Yeah, he's really good, man.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. The cast, I mean, we just had Kelly O'Coin here yesterday.
Oh, I love Kelly. We had a riot together.
Yeah,
I mean,
he said
I said to him, we should have our own show. It was that funny. It was like Mutt and Jeff.
I love it. Fantastic. And again, it's available right here on Roku, FX Clipped on Hulu. One last thing as well, Stone Street was here talking about how, it was entirely possible to have a spin-off of Modern Family with his character, and
yes, and
Jesse as well.
Yeah, Jesse's phenomenal. Both of those guys are just.
Is there any chance we can get one more bite at the apple here, where everybody gets back together? What do you think?
I don't think so.
You don't?
I don't think so. I'm not real big on the reboot things.
I mean, just even if it's just one holiday special, you know what I mean, like a holiday special with the Pritchetts.
I do that. I mean, I'm not. If they came to me with that, I'm not going to say, "Oh, I'm not doing it."
Right.
I do it. Like I do. No, I'm not doing it. No, I think I will.
Just take them to lunch.
Yeah,
that's
just
all.
Take me
it's
to
one lunch.
Free lunch.
Cobb salad.
Cobb salad with a little bacon. That's it.
And he'll say yes.
Free food.
I would love that. You know what I mean? Just to see what everyone's up to one more time.
Yeah,
I
mean that would be fine. That's not in my wheelhouse.
My oldest son has watched the entire Modern Family, start to finish, twice.
You know what I
Twice
say
he's
about
watched
that
it.
show, Rich? It was so well made. Those guys really know how to make a show.
Yeah.
And the writing was just, I think, top notch.
Consistent.
I mean, the writing.
Every episode was.
I mean, really, it was. If you don't have that, you don't have a show.
Right. Do you have just a recollection again of what your favorite Al Bundy line was?
My favorite Al Bundy line. Oh my God.
So many.
I'll tell you what it was. No, it wasn't. But this came to mind.
Okay, sure.
Like again,
Okay.
it just popped in. It was Peg was complaining to me at the table how she had not had an orgasm in, I don't know, 6 months or 5 months. Haven't had one, Al. Haven't had one. You believe that? 6 months. And then repeated that several times, a little louder each time. And I looked at her and said, way to get one, Peg. That's funny, isn't it?
That's the one?
Well, it's funny because it's so horrible a situation to find yourself in. You know, that what are you going to do after that? You know, what's your choice then? What's your option, Rich? Is it let's go to bed and I'm going to make it all up to you? No, probably not.
Oh my God. There's so many moments when was the last time you've watched them Married with Children?
Well, every now and then, they rerun so much and you're channel surfing.
Yeah.
And then I remember them. You know, it was 265 shows.
Yes.
But I'll watch and go, oh, I like this one, and I'll watch it. And I forget a lot of it. I forget a lot of them. And then when I watch it, I find myself, there was another one where I was on the couch with Bud. Mm-hmm. And I had my Dodge had quit running. And I think he was mourning the loss of his Dodge on the couch. And he said, and the kid sitting next to him, his son, and he's crying about the Dodge. I love that, I'm not going to do it. I love that car more than anything in the world.
Right.
And the kid's like saying, well, but what about me, Dad? And I like, you need a Q-tip? I just said it. No, it's so wrong. But it's funny, right?
It's the best show.
That's basically that you just described all of Married with Children. It's wrong, but it's funny.
Here's another one.
Yeah.
There's another one. I wanted him to join our bowling team because we lost somebody down to, sick or something. And we had a big tournament and we just needed a body. So we tried to recruit Bud and he wouldn't do it because he had been humiliated before trying to, do my stuff. And so I realized I was in a corner and he was not going to do it. And I said, remember, son, that time when you tried out for Little League and you didn't make it and you came home crying and I told you it was okay. You tried and that's all that counts. You remember? They said, I do, Dad. I do. I said, well, I lied. You disgraced me then and I'm disgraced. It remains to this day. I was humiliated. So I was again. Some people don't find that funny, though.
Well, yes, but you have to understand when you're flipping on Married with Children, what you get.
Yeah.
That's right.
You're understanding the world into which you're entering.
Yes. Yes, you should be forewarned.
And that's kind of why I asked if there's any similarity between Married with Children and obviously playing, Donald Sterling, because you have to know.
About it,
but you have to know when you're turning on this show what world you're entering.
Exactly.
Here,
exactly. And that's right. But I remember Michael Moye, who was one of the creators and producers. He used to say, in the criticism of that going over the line and stuff, he said, look, if you're watching a sitcom to learn something, you're in trouble. We only want to make you laugh.
Yeah, Al Bundy wasn't Mr. Chips.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
no,
he's definitely the last guy you want to learn a life lesson from.
But he was serving a sentence. He was bravely serving a sentence. Because his life ended after high school.
After his 4 touchdowns in one game.
That was it.
Yeah, you score 4. I mean, what is there to do after that?
Nothing.
You know what I mean?
Oh, my
I'd love
God.
to see Al dole out grandfatherly advice. That would be amazing.
Now we're talking.
Reboot.
FX's Clipped premieres today exclusively on Hulu. You can watch FX's Clipped on Hulu right here on Roku. All right, in the 90 seconds we have left with you, Ed O'Neill, you told a story last time you were here of being at a Super Bowl party where Chris Farley put a cat in a hot dog
sandwich.
In a sandwich, right?
Yeah.
And John Lovitz heard you tell that story and sent the photograph. Here it is. That's it. Where he put a cat in a sandwich.
That was Lovett's cat. And that's a recreation. We had him do it again.
That I didn't know.
No, we had him do it again because the actual shot, he had every condiment known to man: pepperoncinis, onions, tomatoes, everything on the cat. And he was, doing, and the cat actually liked him. So the cat, as you can see, was not freaking out. But Farley was hilarious.
So they had to wash the cat to get this
they
thing?
I mean, the cat was a mess, But it was funny. It was funny.
Funny.
Did not know this was a recreation of the moment.
Two.
This is a Super Bowl party, right?
This was a Super Bowl party at John's house. And he had come, unfortunately, he had been in rehab in Venice.
Oh, that's why he was
Venice,
local.
And he was late. And he came, and I guess it was like I said, how you doing, Chris? He said, 15th time in rehab. How am I doing?
And then he grabs the cat.
Well, no, he went to the table.
Yeah.
There was a table of food.
Yes.
John had put out a spread, and he started piling it up, And John said, leave a little bit for the rest of us, Chris. And he walked inside, and so then he came in the door, and with the kickoff had happened.
Yeah.
They were changing. They were just starting to run the play, and he came in with the cat. I'll eat any goddamn thing I want to on Super Bowl Sunday.
Cat, bread, done. Photograph. Ed O'Neill, thanks for coming, sir.
My pleasure.
Ed O'Neill, everybody. Everybody check out FX's Clipped, premiering today, exclusively on Hulu. Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.